win some, you lose a lot. I say that a lot because you do. You win some and you do lose a lot. And I use it a lot with people when the smallest things go wrong, because small shit happens all the time. And I believe there's a lot of small things that happen that arise that sometimes just feel overwhelming. And then you're just like, fuck, why is there so many battles? There's so many little battles being had. There's big battles being had as well. But sometimes you can't just throw that one under, you win some, you lose a lot. Sometimes you can. There are times though where you do have wins. Believe it or not, that's how we're all here. You know? Even if you want to get down to the nitty gritty and how life is created, there's, I don't know how many, but there's a lot of swimmers that don't make it, and there's only one swimmer. So all those, they lost. That's a lot lost, and then some is one. That's one. You know what I mean? When you're learning something new, there's going to be, there's all, starting at the bottom, especially, not especially, just starting at the bottom of a new discipline that you want to excel at, there's a learning curve. And generally, to get anywhere from shit to adequate, there's a lot of minor losses that just constantly occur. And if you want to take that as photography, a beautiful thing with digital photography is the amount of photos you can take is dependent on the memory card you can get. And memory cards, you know, they can be expensive, but they're not overly expensive. And you're generally going to buy one anyway when you get a digital camera, or else you're not going to be able to take any photos. What I'm going with that is, you're going to take lots and lots and lots of photos that just suck. You're going to take one every now and then that's good. And then that one good one is going to override all those photos that sucked that you shot previously. And then you're going to shoot more photos. And then you might get another decent shot, but then there's some stinkers in between. And there's some stinkers after. And as you continually practice, you will lessen the loss, and have the wins, but you're still always going to have losses. That's just the way it works. Whether it's, you know, you miss focus, the lighting's wrong, just the composition sucks, anything's possible for it to go wrong. But there is going to be a series of lots of losses and a small amount of wins. And yeah, that's part of life too. So I feel like there's just so many micro battles you have every day that they can weigh on you. And then there's just one small thing that happens that's on the positive side. You're like, oh, that's all right. That's a win at least. One small win for the day. And I don't want to be like, oh yeah, like you're doomed. Everything is pointless because there's so many losses. Again, it's another perspective on life that I have. It's just like accepting that there's going to be a lot of losses for one win is a lot better than accepting that there's going to be, going in with the belief that there's going to be no losses and then just wins, because that's going to be demoralizing. You're not going to want to do anything if all you expect is a victory and you're just getting crushed the whole time. That's where you sink. So endure losses, and with those losses, you take time to be like, well, where can I change in those losses? What can I adjust? And then maybe there's a loss that's like you see what clearly went wrong. You're like, oh cool, I can do something differently in that loss next time, in that situation, and hopefully get a victory, or maybe it won't be quite as bad a loss. And then even if it's not quite as bad a loss and it's that step closer, you see the pathway. You're like, okay, well, went from a real big loss to not quite as big a loss, and then you reflect on that. You're like, well, what are those changes I made there? And then you see the changes you made and the changes you didn't, and what works and what didn't. And you're like, well, now I'm going to try that again. And then you move across, and then you repeat the process with the intention of getting better at it from your previous mistakes, and then you're that step closer again to refining it and making it something good. I think everyone knows where I'm going with this, but sometimes it needs to be said, and sometimes it needs to be said by a man who just says stuff. And I will go there. Everyone, as a kid, who can now walk as an adult, had to learn how to walk as a kid or a toddler. And there's lots of falls before there's any balance, before they can just stand. And while I'm sure a child probably doesn't quite go through the methodical process of what I just explained, like, well, where did I go wrong? They're sort of just feeling it out. Intuitively, their body is still is going through that, but maybe not psychologically. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. We don't. Maybe there is answers for this, and you don't even have to go through me to find out if this is true or not. I like to think that no one's ever looked into it, because sometimes I think no one's ever looked into anything. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, everyone who can walk now, as an adult, as a child, like young child, whatever, anyone who can walk had to learn. And there's a long time, over the grand scheme of life, it's not a long time, but there is a period, which at the time is a long time, where you can't, you got to learn. So there's losses there. There's lots of losses every day, but then there's a micro win, and then that micro win turns into a bigger win the next day. Not a huge win, but a little bit more of a win, and then that starts to compound, and you get better at what you're practicing to do. Same thing, what I was saying with photography. If you take 1,000 stinky photos, and then you get one, you're like, wow, that was a good photo. What did I do differently? Maybe you don't look at it look at it like that, and that's why you shoot another 1,000 photos, and then you'll get another one that's okay. If you go in with the intention, like I said before, and you're like, okay, I can see the potential in this photo, what do I need to adjust to make it better? And then when you're in that situation again and go to take that photo, you're like, right, well, I'll adjust X and Y. You make those adjustments. You're like, oh, X was on, Y wasn't. And then you adjust Y. You're like, okay, well, and then you take the photo again in that situation, and then it's like, it's 66% there. And you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Maybe there's a Z there, a little Z floating around. And you adjust the Z, and it's magic. It's done. And you're like, oh, I figured it out. Like, that's what I need to do in that situation to get that shot that I want. And that will transcend through everything. Just breaking things down. I like breaking things down into 3. There's always 3 points of adjustment, With photos, there's ISO, shutter, and aperture for light. With coffee, it's dose, the yield, and the time. With boxing, or kickboxing, you can take the head, you can take the body, you can take the legs. Just works in 3s, That's it. If you can break life into 3s, like I just did, in those 3 disciplines, you can break it down in anything. But no, I think it's a good way of just getting your head around adjustments and variables. I'm getting off here a little bit, but off track. I'm not getting off. But anyway, you win some and you lose a lot. Just make sure the ones you're losing a lot on, you're keeping a bit of track on. And a bit of a track, a lot of a track, whatever. You're keeping track of where you're going wrong. And then make those adjustments to get those wins. And when you get that win, make a note of it. Like, that's what I did. That's why it turned out good. Anyway, you win some, you lose a lot. This one is one of those ones that's more of a loss, But loss for who? Loss for me or loss for you? I don't know. We'll find out in time. All right, you know the drill. Shoot the shit down below. And by that I mean type away on your phone in the comments section. Like and subscribe, and that will make me I don't know what'll make me, but it'll do something. Godspeed.